Welcome to episode 9 of the Sierra Pass Railroad build. This episode is going to kind of go over everything that I've worked on the layout so far. I'm actually getting ready to move here at the end of the month. We're about halfway through April right now. So I'm going to make sure I've got all the track and everything where I need it to be before I move. But you won't see a whole lot more progress here in the next few weeks as I will be disassembling the layout and moving it to my new apartment. But for now, I'll run through the layout here for you, show you what's new, and yeah, enjoy. Okay, so some things that I've learned as I'm building. N scale is very fidgety, and if you don't have the track lined up properly, they'll come disconnected while running. So I've taken one of my Micro Trains container cars because they've got nicer couplers on them. They're actually the couplers I plan on using on all of my rolling stock and engines. But I took it and I would run it up the slope here or just kind of over any sort of joint just to make sure that it's not too much of a incline so that it comes undone or anything like that. And as you can see here, I've actually had to go in and shim up some of I also have to clean it, but I shimmed up the rails here about, I think that's like an eighth higher than the actual cork road bed. And what it allowed it to do is make it more gradual grade instead of having a weird dip in the middle here. And that seems to help a ton. I haven't had any issues with the rolling stock on it yet. Again, I don't have an engine yet, so I'm gonna have to go in and clean the track. I think I got a little glue on the rail here. I'm trying to clean it off. There we go. Go ahead and clean all the rails up and then buy an engine, pull it out, and hopefully run it. I do have some plugs. I got some banana plugs. They're from the RC world, which I'm very big in right now as well. They're used for LiPo batteries, and basically it's just two bolt connections, one's male, one female. So I went online, and because I can't really go to the hobby shop anymore right now, it's closed due to COVID-19. I went online on Amazon, bought some bolt connector type plugs. If you're not familiar with them, they're very common on low C remote control cars as the LiPo battery connection between the ESC and the battery. And I think that is what the route I'm going to take. So I went and bought a bunch so that I can wire up the layout. Basically what it is there's a male and a female version of the bolt connector. They go into a little plastic shell just to keep them apart and make the plug nice and easy, and they connect and disconnect really easily. And with this being a mobile layout, that will be nice, and I'll be able to connect them together and they'll hold. Obviously they're not moving as much as they would be in an RC car, so they're definitely going to hold sitting here doing nothing. And that way I'll be able to wire up the layout, but I'll also be able to disconnect the whole layout when I need to move, which I just talked about. So I'm hoping those will be here before I move. They probably will show up as I'm disassembling the layout. So I probably won't do any of the wiring until I'm in my new apartment. And until then I probably won't be running any trains. Unfortunately, it's been kind of a long process getting all this together without running any trains to see if it even works. So I'm really looking forward to getting an engine here. I have one in the mail. It's one of the BLI GE ES 44AC engines. So kind of running that early to mid 2000s era on the layout here. So once that gets here, hopefully I can test up. I am again waiting for those bolt connectors to show up, the banana plugs, so that I can actually wire it up, see if it works. But until then, I'm hoping I can get all the track in place and get everything prepped and ready to move. I just want to give a quick overview of where the layout is right now. I got the rest of the switches I need here for the layout, or sorry, for the yard. So currently some of this is, so like these pieces here are glued in. They are removable underneath, but the track is glued down onto the cork bed. And then this part here is actually gluing into place right now. This piece will be set in place, but this portion right here is removable. And then I went and bought some containers for my container cars. Turns out they were 53 feet and I have 48-foot cars. Didn't even think to check that. But I was able to cut them down so that they fit, and they actually still look pretty good, and you really don't notice that they're cut down. All of the Kato track that I have here, I think it's actually pronounced Kato. All the Kato track here is not actually glued in yet because I plan on soldering to the bottom of the track. So instead of soldering onto the sides of the rails, actually soldering like into the little hole right here, kind of how you would see the pre-soldered track joiners. I plan on doing that just to make it a little bit cleaner and feed into the feeder holes that I have here a little bit easier. I still have a little bit of work to do in this section as far as making the cork for the removable piece, both here and here. And then this piece here does need to still get glued into place. But for now, most of the track is ready to go. This part still isn't glued in because I want to weather the bridges before I glue everything into place. And if I glue these in, I won't be able to get the bridges out very easily. So I'm waiting to do that. But we can come up and around here. And I've cut out this part of the hill, and I'm going to push the tunnel entrance to the back. I kind of noticed with the design that I had that there isn't a whole lot of track super visible. I want it a little bit more visible, so obviously you can see the trains run. And then I also am going to make this part removable so I can pull it out and actually clean the track back there, just to make it run a little bit smoother. And then last night I went ahead and glued in everything that's in the back here. So all of this Kato track is actually glued into place now. I'm not sure how well it works. I think I might go in and add some extra glue just to try and solidify some of it because it does kind of wobble. But it's glued down on the track joiners here, here, and here. So at least in 3 places, and I do have the wiring in for the back half of the layout. But from here on, I still don't have wiring. Again, this double track isn't glued in, as you can see. These pieces here are glued in because they're pretty solid, and this is the Tunnel 10 bridge that I'm working on. You'll see a video of just the bridge build eventually, but this will be the Tunnel 10 bridge, and it fits about, man, I keep derailing, it's just pulling it, about 3 of these Autorack cars, so it's not really a very scale build because it is a little bit shorter than how it would need to be for an N-scale build, but with the space I have, it'll do. And then I have all of the upper layout glued into place, minus the Kato track here. So yeah, that's kind of an overview where the layout is right now. Pretty much have all the track put into place. The yard is good. I think I might actually look into adding more into the yard because there is extra space here for at least 3 more lines. I think I might go ahead and figure out a way to do that, as I'm kind of realizing I might need more space. And then I need to put in some switches. The switch is just laying around, some Bachmann track that I have. But these are mostly just switches that I find for stupid cheap as used switches because I don't really plan on setting these up to be run DCC, where I do have the DCC decoders for Digitrax for these switches. I have the DCC Digitrax decoders for all of these switches. but I don't plan on using any DCC setup back here. This will just be a manual switch. And as you can see, like even this switch is completely broken here, so I have to physically move the rails, which isn't that bad. It does switch, and then this one does switch pretty well actually. So that's where I'm at for now. I made sure not to get glue underneath these pieces here when I glued them in so that it'll actually switch. And then I watched a video from Aloha Milton on some things to do to code 4 switches, or number 4 Kato switches, just to make them switch a little bit nicer. And the little piece of styrene underneath kind of the middle of the switch portion really helps support it. Like I can push down on it and feel that it's actually pushing on the styrene, but it doesn't affect the handling of the switch, and just makes it a little bit more sturdy, especially for the heavier engines that I plan on running. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sierra Pass Railroad. Again, I will be moving here soon, so this is going to be torn down and reassembled somewhere else, and I'll probably have a video of the whole teardown process and rebuild, and tell you basically everything that's gone wrong with the layout since then. But thanks for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can get updates on the whole layout here. And if there's any sort of tips you have for moving, please leave a comment in the section below. This will be the first time I've ever had to move a layout. In fact, this is also the first layout I've ever built, if you haven't already noticed. And if you'd like to join us on Facebook, where we'll be posting photos of everyone's layouts, it'll be kind of community forum. I've got a link for my Facebook channel page in the description below, and I'd appreciate it if you guys went and joined up. So yeah, thanks for watching.